actually not even on a side.
So if you're on this, you're TCU trained. Listen. Mark and Tommy have done the job, but I may be the spokesman for TCU women's basketball because I believe in these guys and I know what they can do. If they beat South Carolina, they're going to be 10-1 to win a national championship.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Road management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
What's up, everybody? This is Pro Football Today here on SportsGrid. I am Adam Kaufman, joined, as always, by Tom Vecchio and the sportsbook consigliere, Dave Sharapan, as we have ourselves. I think we just, even before we get into the Thursday Night Football, which, of course, features the Seahawks and the Bears, and you can look at it, guys, and say, oh, God, Seattle, Chicago, that's the one game you're giving me tonight? I get it. However, we had two games, even though they both stunk. We had two games yesterday. You got the one today. You have, what's today? Thursday. You got more on Saturday, I think 3 of them. You got games all day on Sunday. And then, of course, you have Monday Night Football. All of this is to say, Dave and Tom, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and what a wonderful football-filled holiday season this is, Dave.
Yeah, and everybody's got cash. After the last 2 days, everybody won. All the favorites cover, like Sunday, it just carried over into Monday and then into Wednesday. I'll be the first one to say, I don't think we need football every day. Some people will disagree, but I think the quality of the games is important. If we just played on Sundays and Mondays in the NFL, leave Saturday for the college, I think it'll be fine. But we're here. It's Thursday. It's the holiday season. It's another favorite, and I don't know. I couldn't decide, so I went old school Seahawks, Bears hat. Let's get the over. I think we hit every prop that we mentioned on Monday, boys. Monday was a good show. That was a fun night to keep watching and going, boy, the Saints really aren't going to score. I think, Kaufman, did you call a shutout?
I mean, I didn't say specifically go place the wager, but I said a shutout was a real possibility, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're in for a good game tonight. We can't go as far as to say it's going to be a great game. And Adam and I were discussing pre-show about the actual implications that this relates to Seattle and their playoff chances, where it's actually less important than some people would realize. That if they win, it really just comes down to the Rams game on Saturday when they take on the Cardinals, who we all agree are frauds. We're not going to get into that. But it comes down to what happens with the Rams and then the Seahawks and the Rams facing off next week. So we're in for a game tonight. There's going to be a little bit of rain. It's not going to be overbearing by any means. There's going to be a little bit of wind, not going to be a large factor. We have a star running back, Kenneth Walker for Seattle. He is out. Zach Charbonnet will be taking the lead role, as we saw a couple weeks ago. We have, I'm going to say, encouraging signs on the Bears offense. Maybe I'm a little bit higher on Caleb Williams over the past few weeks. And most importantly, the Seattle secondary has been torched over the past 5 or so weeks. And we can get into all that because I think it's terrible. And I think Caleb Williams could be in for a surprisingly good game tonight.
I do think you're using the term star a little bit loosely when it comes down to Kenneth Walker, but it's true. He's out. Zach Charbonnet is going to be the featured guy generally, and we've talked a lot about this, when he gets a starting opportunity where he is not the, secondary option, he tends to have very strong games. I mean, we'll talk more about the running back comparison, he and DeAndre Swift a little bit later on, but people in the prop betting market across the football space, at least the guys that I pay attention to, are all over the Charbo overs. I mean, they love Charbonnet rushing overs tonight, which you can get basically in the low 70s. But again, we'll discuss that later on. We got to start here with the side and the total. Dave, you expect points. I also expect points. Universally, we're looking at 42.5. I think the over is the right play there, Tom. In terms of the sides, I would lean towards Seattle. Most people would, yes, which is why we've seen steady climb within the line. It was 3.5. There are still some 4.5s out there, even some 5s at places. So if you do believe that the Bears, who below, by the way, they've lost 9 straight games and are looking for a very first win on their home field tonight, if you think that they are positioned well to play spoiler with that offense that is increasingly potent over the last, recent weeks and some good pass catchers around Caleb Williams that he is poised to find, then sure, grab that +5. But given the game, while it's not as important, like Tom alluded to, as maybe some people out there believe, because in large part it comes down to the Rams game against the Cardinals on Saturday to determine what the Week 18 matchup means between LA and Seattle. So win or lose tonight, that's kind of still the case going into Saturday for the Seahawks. This game still means a little something, if nothing else, less Seattle trying to show it belongs in the conversation and is capable of playing the right way. And you can't go into Chicago when you're fighting for your season and lose this game. So Seattle wins. It's just a function of, do the Seahawks, Tom, cover the number?
This reminds me a little bit of what we saw 2 Mondays ago when we had the doubleheader, when I was talking about the Falcons, where I think, Dave, you said, like, oh, am I saying I love the Falcons? It's like, or do I love the Raiders? It's like, I'm not really making a case for Seattle, right? It's like kind of making a case against Seattle because I think they're exceedingly average, but we all know the Bears are not a good team. I also don't want to lay 5.5 with Seattle. So inadvertently, I guess I'm going to be on Chicago just because I do not have faith in Seattle to do a whole lot. As we have seen over these past few weeks, their defense is not good. And Caleb Williams, I think, is hitting a bit of a peak right now, as we've seen some really solid performances from him over these past 5 weeks. So I'm not making a case for Seattle or against them, and I'm not making a case for the Bears or against the Bears. I'm just going to end up on the Bears because I don't have faith in Seattle. And that's what it comes down to. Also, 5's a weird number, right? If you got them at 3.5, I congrats, because you can cover the 4 if they win 24-4, you can at least get a push or somewhere along those lines. But 5's a weird number.
What do you think, Dave?
We saw a strange game yesterday, and it ended 31-2. I think we won't.
It's a scoregami, by the way. Have we ever seen that?
No,
it's not.
No,
it's
that
not.
was not a scoregami. So believe it or not, it was not. But I was out and about today, and my buddy Connor said, go on your show today and say that Seattle's going to win, but the Bears are going to cover. And he goes, listen, I have been pretty cold lately. I haven't been doing well, but you can go on and say that. So I think that's a common sentiment today. I think a lot of people will be like, you know what? I'm not comfortable laying 4.5. I'm not comfortable laying 5 with Seattle. Seattle's been really good on the road, though. And I don't know, the circuit contest here, this whole contest is going to come down to this game. If Chicago wins outright, half the field is gone. There's 40 people left. It'll be down to 20. So it's the most selected side of the yesterday and today games. And, like, the books need the Bears. I mean, the books need the Bears a lot. This is like an 80 to 85%er on the side of Seattle. Doesn't mean it's not going to get there, because that side has got there more often than not this season. Like since 1970, week 5 on, friend of mine, Evan Abrams from Action Network, put this out there.
Yeah.
The favorites have covered the most they've ever covered since 1970 from week 5 on this season in the NFL. So, you want a dog? Tread cautiously today.
Yeah, I'll add this to that. I'm sure Abrams is well aware of this, but Geno Smith, it's not like he is this overwhelmingly successful quarterback as a favorite. You go back through his numbers, 3-9 against the spread when he is favored. His teams are favored by at least 3.5 points, which again is where things open tonight. And now again, we're looking at 4.5s and 5s out there. So and he's dealing with a knee injury. So there are questions as to what we can expect from Geno here in this game tonight. But we have a lot coming your way over the course of this hour and change. We will do positional comparisons. We'll look at the quarterbacks, more on Geno and Caleb when we come back. We will also give you same game parlays a little while from now. Can we read this game as well as we did our last show? That's the question. Try and catch some bets for you and with you next.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets and when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York G has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Back here on Pro Football Today with Sharapan, Vecchio. I'm Kaufman. We're talking Seahawks, Bears, Thursday night football. We're running out of these guys. Running out of Thursday night football games.
This is it.
Monday as well.
Yeah.
I know. Let's talk about the quarterback comparison in this game. Geno Smith, Caleb Williams. Now I look at these two guys and I see Geno, who again we just talked about it, not all that great as a favorite, short favorite in his career. He is someone that is dealing with the knee injury. This game, of course, it's probably more meaningful to the Seahawks than it is in reality to the win-loss column. But again, they're out there obviously playing for something. He's had a great connection with Jackson Smith and Jigba. We'll do the wideouts in a little bit. Caleb Williams on the other side. Vecchio, you alluded to this. He's been better of late and has some good pass-catching options within that offense. And more to the point, a very low total. 215.5 is the lowest you can find for the passing over for Caleb Williams, which if you look back through the Seahawks box scores week by week, that is a number opposing quarterbacks are clearing almost every time. I mean, there are a few exceptions very early in the season when the Seahawks defense was better. Right now, of late, this is, almost on a weekly basis, clearing that number.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to make. Over the past 5 weeks, we've seen 246, 229, 259, 285 from opposing quarterbacks. We're seeing multiple passing touchdowns in this stretch. And yeah, we can all agree that Seattle's the better team. But, are we going to lay the points, whatever it might be? But if we see the Bears playing from behind, as they always start slow, we're going to see the volume of yards get there for Caleb Williams, who has put up 300-plus yards in 2 of his last 5 games. He's been up at 256. He's not throwing interceptions. The sacks and the offensive line, that's a completely different story. We can all agree that's not good. He's taking negative plays, whatever it might be, the penalties, et cetera, et cetera. But the yards are still getting there for Caleb Williams. And I like the surrounding pieces, as you said, that he has out there. We're kind of dealing with teams that are somewhat similar built, where we have like 3 pass catching options on each side. We have a running back that we can talk about. We have tight ends that are okay in the grand scheme of things. I think we're going to see some yards and some points tonight. I know at face value, this game doesn't have like that star power that we're really looking for, but we've talked about these types of games before, whether it was, I'm not going to say that the extent of a Broncos-Browns game where we see 500 yards from one of these quarterbacks. No, but we are in for more points than you would assume. And yes, this game is not a literal must-win for the Seahawks, but they still want to build positive momentum for a potential must-win game next week.
Dave, I don't know how you see.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no.
No.
I was going to say this.
Oh, go. Oh,
wait. Go. No. I'm going to sit back. Go.
Oh, ask me what you were going to ask me. Go ahead.
All right. What I was going to ask you. This is awesome TV and radio for the people out there. What I was going to ask you is, look, Geno Smith is as reliable for a red zone interception as Santa coming down the chimney. You can get Geno to throw a pick at minus 122. I'm looking at on FanDuel here. Doesn't that feel like a pretty good play in this one? It's not that the Bears defense is elite by any means, but Geno just makes mistakes.
Without a doubt, that's where I was going to go. Where I was going to say,
great minds.
You got that thing up there. The price is the same. These numbers are almost the same. The biggest difference right there, and you see in the comparison, is in the passing yards. They're both 1.5 to throw touchdowns. Another interesting thing is if you're not looking at the pick, I think if I was to decide between the two, and a lot of times, we've had people, tweet at us or talk about us on the show or come with their props. Both quarterbacks to throw a pick. I think Geno throws a pick before Caleb throws a pick. Okay, so we'll look at that. But the price is exactly the same. You're absolutely right. It's probably likely to happen in the red zone. So there you go, minus 122. Good job, Vincenzo. Now, when you look at the Bears schedule, there's a lot of L's. We had like it, love it, or leave it. When you look at that schedule, how many games in a row did you start? It's 9 L's in a row.
Yep.
I think if you bet Caleb to throw 2 touchdowns or more, like over 1.5, that's going to be another L for you. I don't think he does it tonight. I really don't, although I like the over. I think he goes under that number. And then look at his – I wanted to ask Vecchio this. His rushing yards combined with his passing yards, is this worthy of a bet? Because I got 250 plus is only minus 105. It's only minus 105. That's combined passing and rushing. He's going to get there, isn't he, Tom?
I think so, and it could just be on the yards alone. Like I said, the secondary for the Seahawks has been torched, and I'm not going to compare. I think Sam Darnold's obviously a much better quarterback, what we saw from him last week. Great stuff. But we're seeing, was it 34, 27, 39, 33, and 70 rushing yards from Caleb Williams over this last stretch of games, not to mention, like I said, he's going for 250 plus in 3 of these games. The touchdowns I may push back on. we've seen some good touchdown production from Caleb Williams. I texted Adam last night and I said, or this morning, whatever it was, talking so much, that 250 and 2 touchdowns from Caleb's is very much on the table. It will probably be a losing effort from the Bears, but 250 passing at least and 2 passing touchdowns, I think, is on the table for Caleb tonight.
Well, that's why I believe, guys, that we're going over in terms of the total. 42.5 is, I feel like it's modest just because of the teams that we're dealing with. There are certainly explosive offensive players, whether it's, the JSN, what Charbonnet's expected to do, the ghost of DK Metcalf, who is not nearly doing what he has done in the past, but still putting up, I guess, a respectable season. And on the other side, between Allen, Moore, Adunze, Swift, like you have all these guys that are just capable playmakers to where, I know people want to look at this game and say field goals. I think we're going to get some touchdowns in this one on both sides.
I do too. I'm trying to think of like what combination, because as Dave was saying, he was talking to a friend saying that Seattle wins, but they don't cover. I'm trying to think of like what score combination we get to that would put this 4.5, 5 points or whatever it is, like a 31-27. That's a lot of points. Granted, that we're pushing close to 60 plus points, but somewhere along the lines of
24-20.
Yeah, 24-20, maybe 28-24 kind of situation where I'm on board with us getting scoring. We're at that 2.5 to 2.5 touchdown scores per team kind of line. Who would you expect to get into the end zone? We're working with something good tonight. I think surprisingly good.
Boy, all this talk and no screenshot of the anytime touchdown odds. How about we do that when we come on back?
There's a better chance the Raiders might stumble into a win because of who they're playing over the next few weeks than the Giants, who I don't think will win.
I don't believe for 1 minute that they want to win a game. I do not believe that the New York Football Giants want to win a game at all, because it will cost them dearly. In fact, they will continue to suck for years to come if they screw this up.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Seahawks Bears Thursday Night Football tonight. As Dave said before, last one of these, not the last show, but the last one of these Thursday Night Football games. And so let's make the most of it. And let's figure out, we keep saying points, and where are they going to come from? Who's going to score them? Well, who's getting the touchdown, guys? Let's take a look at the anytime touchdown odds, courtesy of FanDuel here in this game, and see, what kind of advantages that we do have across the board, because there are a lot of names. There are a lot of names. You know, we were exploring it earlier on the early line, Vecchio, and examining how the only guy at minus odds was Charbonnet, who again is the starting running back for Seattle tonight with Kenneth Walker out. Everybody else plus money, a handful, half dozen sitting inside 2-1. And here I'll recite them for you because we don't have them up right now. I'll tell you, we've got Charbonnet again minus 170. JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba plus 160. DeAndre Swift, the other running back, plus 175. He could do it on the ground and in the air. 185 for Keenan Allen, 195 for DJ Moore. DK Metcalf is 2-1, plus 200. And I will mix in Rome Odunze as well, Dave, at plus 280. Who do you like?
DeAndre Swift. I think that's the one to play. I think if the Bears get close, they're going to give it to him. And there's so many options there around the same price. You called him the ghost of DK Metcalf, which I really enjoyed. That was well done on your part.
Thank you.
I like Smith and Jigba. I don't feel like the price is high enough, but I think he's the guy to catch the pass. And if it's not him, maybe it's dare I say Font? Is it Noah Fant? Font? Yeah.
Fant. Yeah.
Fant.
Yeah.
Maybe that guy with that big price is worth a shot. But if I'm picking a Bear, I'm picking Swift or I mean, is it that easy where you pick Swift or Moore? So one of those two, but if you play them both, you come up a little short with the plus 170 and plus 195. So I don't know, boys. Does a quarterback get in today? I mean, those prices for the quarterback to score a touchdown, those aren't even making the first page.
Gino with the knee, I don't think they'd be designed to run plays. I don't think he should be quarterback sneaking it with the knee. Just hand the ball to Charbonnet, who was super solid when he got the starting job when Kenneth Walker was out a couple weeks ago. So Charbonnet is kind of the player thing everyone's looking to. Specifically from the Bears side of things, I like DJ Moore. I like him to score up at plus 185. It's up at plus 195. I'll certainly take it. 27% target share overall. It's second on the team behind Keenan Allen. Seattle, they've allowed 18 touchdowns to opposing wide receivers. That's the third most in the league. And as I said this morning on the early line, I've said it before, I will say it again, I am of the belief that quarterbacks should look to keep their star wide receivers happy. And we have seen Keenan Allen with some big games over the past few weeks. It's time for DJ Moore to find his way into the end zone.
The good thing about DJ Moore is, he is at least a target machine, a reception machine. Now, to your point, doesn't always find the end zone, obviously. It's been a few weeks. He had back-to-back against Minnesota and Detroit going back to the end of last month. Hasn't been in there in a few games, but at least passes are going to be sent his way. And we'll do a receiver breakdown coming up in a little bit here, Dave. But in recent games, I'm going in, reverse order here. 10 targets, 8, 16 in that game that lost to the Lions. Yep, 7, 6, 9. That takes you back to the very beginning of November. So the volume is there. The thing is, and I've talked to Tom about this, it just doesn't always, even if the catch rate is great, it doesn't always produce a lot of yards with DJ Moore. For instance, a couple of games ago, back-to-back games where his long catch was 14 yards. So you had 8 for 8 catches, only 46 yards, 6 catches, only 49 yards in those consecutive games. So I don't know. Makes you wonder if he's more reliable in terms of the touchdown market, if you get him like inside the 25, even inside the red zone, Tom.
Yeah, we can go back, and as we get to the wide receiver market, I'm totally on board with that. And this is something I've talked about before with teams and just how they operate offenses. But DJ Moore, we may not look at yards, and this is not a player you would ladder up. Something that we've talked about before. I've specifically mentioned for a lot of players, because what I call essentially is like the layers of the offense, where he's that underneath option to pick up those first downs, hopefully, and then Keenan Allen's the one that's going deep. He's the one that sets up the play action. A lot of the touchdowns Seattle has allowed recently have come inside the 20 or inside the 10, which I think sets up well for DJ Moore tonight.
Under 56 and a half,
all of it, we will.
Under 56
I mean, maybe. I have a thought on that. We'll do that in a little bit. We'll talk about the wide receivers, the running backs, same game parlays. Guys, look, I brought a friend too. Oh boy!
there's a better chance the Raiders might stumble into a win because of who they're playing over the next few weeks than the Giants, who I don't think will win.
I don't believe for 1 minute that they want to win a game. I do not believe that the New York Football Giants want to win a game at all, because it will cost them dearly. In fact, they will continue to suck for years to come if they screw this up.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, we are here, Pro Football Today, with Dave and Tom. I am Adam. We are exploring the best bets here in this game. We'll do our same game parlay, a little competition in just a little bit. But let's keep talking about these wide receivers. Left off there, let's continue with it. I mentioned I had a thought, guys, on DJ Moore, and we can show you the top wideout comparison. We know all the different options that Caleb Williams has at his disposal in terms of pass catchers, whether that is, again, Moore, the man featured right there on your screen opposite DK Metcalf there. You have, obviously, Rome Odunze. You have Keenan Allen. I'll include DeAndre Swift as well, with modest props, guys. And I brought this up in other games in the past, but it feels particularly relevant here in this one as well, because I think Williams does spread the ball around, as we have seen in terms of the target share in recent weeks, now that he is getting a little bit more comfortable underneath this chaotic coaching staff that he is dealing with. When you look at some of the props available to you, Dave, here on FanDuel, Keenan Allen, 58.5, DJ Moore, 56.5, Rome Odunze, 42.5, and Swift, 13.5. If you'd like, you could include Cole Kmet at 18.5, but I won't for the purpose of this. I would rather play all four of those guys overs and hope that three of the four cash than pick any one singularly and invest in him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good. That's good for volume for the books. They want you to do that. That's awesome. But would you play any unders? So as we were talking a little bit during the break, I went, okay, I think I want to go Moore's yards under, but his receptions over. Because if he's not going to be the guy to catch the big play, all right, and, you know, I got to be honest. I mean, I haven't watched nearly as many second halves of Bears games as first halves because they're usually out of it. So if Allen's going to catch some balls, and maybe they're going to come back if they start slow, because I had a birdie in my ear tell me that the Bears start slow. Vecchio, can you confirm or deny that? The Bears start slow? Is that what you said?
Very slow. We've seen some of these first quarters, first halves, where they're barely putting up, I don't even want to say 100 yards. Some of these first halves were barely getting to 50.
Oh. You want a trend on that real quick? I'll just give you a trend on that I was reading earlier. The Bears are an NFL worst 4-11 against the spread in the first halves of games, including 0-5 ATS in their last 5. So maybe, honestly, guys, the best play in this game is just taking the Seahawks to cover the first half and do it that way.
I mean, it might be.
That's not a bad play. What is that number right now, boys? What is that first half spread number? Because a lot of times, it's weird because in the book, a lot of times we would do this or we would hear that stat or just sitting in the book and knowing that. Okay, so the game is 4.5 or 4, and a lot of times you'd make this first half 3 because it's very likely that they're going to cover or win the first half by 3. So I think if you get under 3, you get to 2.5, it's probably not a bad play. If you like to continue to bet trends that are your friends until they're not, which listen, it's the last Thursday night game. Let's go out in a blaze of glory, boys. It's got to be a friend, right? Adam, no?
I like it. I'm more comfortable playing the Seattle first half ATS, covering the spread -2.5, -125 than I am the full game. For sure. You could get Chicago, especially at home, trying to play spoiler, being resilient, get a backdoor cover, maybe even potentially win. Absolutely.
I'm totally in agreement with that. I think, like I said, the Bears, I don't want to say they're live to win because the Bears aren't a good team, but them covering and, fight resilience at the end of the season, they want to at least have something to hang their hat on, some type of silver lining that they can come away with the season. With a rookie quarterback, they want to go out there. That's what I think we can be seeing from them as the second half goes on. I think they will generally start slow, but the yards will be there for them, and that's where a backdoor cover could come into play.
I'm going to ask a question because now we've established that Seattle's going to win or cover the first half. Who's going to perform tonight that maybe we're not looking at for the Bears if the Bears are going to win the game? Like, that's the guy. I don't want to ask, who's night, which guy is it? And I'll throw it to you first, Adam. Anytime touchdown score, that's a possibility. But which Bear is the key to the Bears winning the game?
It's hard to say who's the key, but if you're going to say, who's the guy that we've not talked about, I think it's Cole Kmet, pardon me. I think it's, again, is someone that generally is in the conversation for a catch or two. There's a reason his prop is below 20 yards. Looking at, again, I think 17.5, 18.5, whatever I said before. Obviously a great plus number on him to score a touchdown. If a guy like that, I'm not talking about going off, but if a guy like Cole Kmet gives you 3-4 catches and has 35 yards and finds the end zone, I think that is an enormous difference maker for Chicago in this game, Tom.
I would have to say Keenan Allen. And just based on the way the Seattle secondary has been torched over the past few weeks, some deep ball shots. As much as I love the DJ Moore, I love his underneath kind of play. Keenan Allen and how they utilize him in the offense, some of the deep balls that he just generally gets over the course of the last few games, combined with what we have seen or lack thereof from the Seattle defense, those big plays could be the swing factors. Those big plays break off these 30, 40-yard chunks that do set them up for a touchdown as the game goes on. So that's where I would lean. I think it has to come down to a modest run game from Swift and then setting it up to Keenan Allen deep.
Are there any big plays in here, Dave? Are there any big plays? So I'm looking at longest reception, and I'm going, okay, because, player total receptions, they're all hard. They're 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, and then 4.5 for Metcalf, and then the tight ends, 3.5, 2.5. Player longest reception, Smith and Jigba, 22.5. That's a big play waiting to happen, is it not? I think that, and that's a pick 'em. It's
what's
minus
Keenan Allen's at?
On both sides. Keenan Allen is 20.5 with the undershaded.
Yep.
He's been at 45, 26, 31, and 40 for the past 5 weeks.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. I think, and Roma Dunze's the other one. That's the other guy that we've not talked about because he's in that same vicinity. I think 19.5 and
18.5
over the last two games. Yeah, over the last 2 games, along a 30 and along a 29. And the games before that, 17 and 19, just to let you know he was in the vicinity of that number we're talking about. So he's another one. Odunze and Allen, obviously Smith and Jigba on the other side. And I think you could consider, not that I would do it, but you could consider Moore and Metcalf as well, just because of their speed.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
is the fourth choice to have the most receiving yards of the game, behind Smith and Jigba's the favorite, and then DK Metcalf, which I can't believe he's the second choice. Keenan Allen's third, almost 4-1, and DJ Moore is plus 440 right now. So it's one of those four guys lead this game in receiving, all plus money prices. I mean, I guess if you're liking Jigba to go over his number, you're probably worthy of a bet. Most receiving yards of the game. Are we alting anybody tonight, boys? I mean, Monday had me so fired up because everything that was supposed to happen kind of happened, and we talked about it.
Kaufman,
you got any alts?
Don't even. We're not talking about Monday night.
I didn't want to say it. Almost everything happened that was supposed to happen.
Almost everything. Yeah. Here's the problem with the alts is that we're looking at, like you said, receivers at a 56, 52, 48. They're so closely grouped that if you wanted to take a shot on one, like that's got to be your guy for the night. So I think it would be JSN on one side and Keenan Allen on the other if I had to pick the two. Because, again, the DJ Moore just yards aren't always there. The receptions are there for him, but the Keenan Allen big plays. Yeah. And I just think JSN is the talent they should be going to on the other side.
I'll give you a fun fact on DJ Moore as well. His line, receptions, again, I'm with Tom on this. Receptions, his line is 5.5 tonight. Over his last X number of games dating back to November 17th, here are the totals. 7, 8, 6, 8, 7, 7. Man's been clearing it on the regular. Same game parlays when we come back.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career and might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We are back, PFT. Time for some SGPs, just to give you some more letters. Same game parlays. And in this rousing, spirited competition where for the last time on a Thursday, you hear from me, you hear from Tom, we hear Dave talk about why Tom's bet is better. Tom, start us off.
Yours was great on Monday. What are you talking about? You hit it on Monday.
I know.
We won it.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I just I'm insecure. I'm insecure, Dave. I've been shouted down too many times in favor of Tom, and it's PTSD. It stays with me. Vecchio, start us off. What do you have?
SGP right at 4-1. Starting off the Seattle money line. We've said it before. I'll say it again. Seattle, they are the better team. Players to find the end zone. No yardage props. I love some yardage props here and there, but just 2 players to find the end zone. Zach Charbonnet taking over the starting role because Kenneth Walker is out. And Jackson Smith and Jigba, their best offensive player, also to find the end zone. Seattle, they have to operate normally. Again, this is not a literal must-win for the Seahawks because there's a lot going on with the Rams game on Saturday night. But their 2 best players to find the end zone and their team to come away with the win, it's got to be Zach Charbonnet tonight, right? If he's not scoring, you're going to be looking to drink some Chardonnay, but that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to be cashing tickets with this SGP up at 4-1.
I had to get the glasses for that. Hold on. Is that right? Did Tom Vecchio take a minus money guy to score a touchdown?
I've done it before, but
I know, but this is in the SGPs, but you got the running back, the odds-on favorite involved in this. This will be a clip. This is going to go viral. This is outstanding. Noted, taken, all the above, and they're both Seattle guys. Seattle heavy. Wow. All right.
Didn't you just do it with Josh Jacobs, or am I imagining that? I feel like this is not that out of the ordinary.
But he was minus 300 because
he was minus 300.
We're getting really strong correlation. The favorite and their starting running back, they're going to be leading the game. He's going to be scoring, and then that one key other player boost those odds up just a little bit.
Okay,
All
Adam.
right, well, here's one argument before I even give you mine. Here's one argument for Tom's as opposed to mine. He has better odds, and I have an extra leg. It's a 4-legger. Let's show it to you. Here's what we're doing. Now, we are like-minded on Seattle money line. I also expect the Seahawks to win this game. We've been talking on and on and on about the total, so I don't need to rehash all of that. I am looking for the over in this contest, 42.5. And as far as the prop market goes, again, Caleb Williams, I'll pull it down a little bit. I'll go to 200 passing yards as opposed to the 216.5 that's available out there to you, just in case something wacky happens. There it is for you. But I like Caleb Williams to spread it around amongst all those receivers. And again, he is playing better of late. The only other one is JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is averaging about 12 yards per catch, 73 yards per game. This is about 10, 15 yards below his prop. We're looking for 60-plus receiving yards from him. He has hit his over, set by the books. He has hit his over in 8 straight games. Right. So that's JSN, 60-plus receiving. Again, the over in the game, the Seahawks money line, and the other one, 200-plus passing out of Caleb Williams. You put those 4 together, we have plus 377 on FanDuel, so just slightly below Tom's 4-1.
Wow. This is great. This is the last Thursday night game. We got 2 really good same-game parlays. I got a quick 30-second really good story about Jackson Smith and Jigba's mom, who I met in the book at the Cosmo before 3 days before he got drafted. She was here hanging out with a friend, and she started telling me, wait till you see what my son does when he gets to the NFL. I became a fan. It was great. I love what he's doing recently. All of that being said, Vecchio with the running back in there and the Seattle money line, which, I mean, listen, boys, if Seattle doesn't win this game, neither one of you are winning the parlay. Adam,
True.
One on Monday, okay? It's not personal. Don't be insecure. Your extra leg is doing it for me in the other direction today, okay? Usually that means a better, higher payout. It doesn't. I'm going with Vecchio, same game parlay tonight. I think Smith and Jigba scores. That was my guy. I was going to say, if we're going to throw it out there, I was going to say, do you guys think he scores a touchdown? I think he does. So you got the running back in there, boom, and you got Seattle money line. That's a good paying out same game parlay. There you go.
Really simple. Don't want to stress anything.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to be pushing things too much. Again, Seattle has to operate rationally. That's the point. They're the better team. Operate rationally. Get your best players the ball. Win the game. Do as much as you can. Again, not a literal must win, but they got to still play well. and set themselves up for next week.
Yeah, and for the people that don't know what we're talking about, where like Tom keeps saying it's not a literal must-win. Now, this is very confusing when it comes to all the tiebreaker scenarios in terms of winning the NFC West, because again, you have the Seattle team sitting a game behind the Rams, and they play each other in Week 18 next week. So if the Rams win their game against the Cardinals on Saturday, it doesn't matter what happens here in this game tonight. Even if the Seahawks win, the Rams win. If they win on Saturday, they win the division, because even if they lose to the Seahawks on their Week 18 game, and the tiebreakers, in fact, the first 4 tiebreakers, I believe, all go to the Rams. The Rams win the division. So really what the Seahawks need to do is win or lose tonight. They need the Rams to lose on Saturday, because even if both teams lose tonight, even if both teams lose, Rams lose and the Seahawks lose going into Week 18, that doesn't matter for Seattle, because at that point, if Seattle then wins that game, then it holds the tiebreaker based on, strength of schedule, divisional record, all this stuff. And so
control your own destiny, Adam. That's all we want in life, is to control our own destiny. And like Vecchio says, be right. The Seahawks don't control their own destiny as we come down to the end of the playoffs. That's it.
No. And so it does, in a way, other than sort of morale and feeling good and playing well, it does render tonight's game mildly meaningless in terms of the outcome for the Seahawks. We'll talk.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Sometimes the off-air show is better than the on-air show. Welcome back to Pro Football Today. Counting you down to the Seahawks and the Bears Thursday Night Football. One last TNF game to close out Pro Football Today, at least for Thursdays. We will be back with you on Monday and looking forward to it for the last one of those. But again, we've been going extensively on the quarterbacks, on the receivers, and sort of sprinkling in the running backs, guys. Let's go there. Zach Charbonnet and DeAndre Swift. Now, these two guys, it's hard to know exactly how to play them. Charbonnet is not the number one ordinarily. Kenneth Walker, as we mentioned earlier, is out for this game. Charbonnet, when he has had a starting opportunity, generally has done well, and the Bears have a poor run defense. And Swift, it's not a great matchup for him on the other side, and I question how much the Bears are going to be running the ball if they trail early. So I'll start this way, Tom. Is the rushing plus receiving combo actually the best play if you're going there at all for both of these guys?
I think that's the simplest way to go about it. We can get into more specifics about who you prefer, what we expect the game script to be, et cetera, but rushing plus receiving, especially for Zach Charbonnet, should be the route I think most people will be looking to go, alting him down and putting him in SGPs, whatever it might be. I think that's the rational way to go about it. I do specifically like Zach Charbonnet under 16.5 rushing attempts. I think this is a spot that we may not see him carry the ball as much as we're anticipating. I understand he got the starting role, when he was going up against the Cardinals a couple weeks ago. He had 22 rushing attempts in that game. However, they were up 24-10 and then 27-10, I believe, at the start of the third quarter of the game. A very clear running game script for Seattle. I'm not necessarily expecting that. So he will be the prominent back with Walker out, but him pushing to 17, 18 carries is not what I'm expecting. Actually play a bigger role in the passing game. So I absolutely love the rushing plus receiving for both of them tonight, but lean a little bit more with Zach Charbonnet.
I got one, Adam. I got one. This is kind of one for the people in the game specials category. All right, I just wanted to say Charbonnet because sometimes you need a little, just it sounds fun to say and it's hard to spell, just like Baruch. Like if you say that in Hebrew with a little bit of chip, But yeah, Charbonnet to get 5 yards each quarter. Like, how does Charbonnet not get 5 yards each quarter? The price is plus money. It's plus 105. If this guy, and I'm going to rely on you two to tell me, if he's the only option, because the other guy's out, Walker's out, he's going to get the ball in the first quarter, the second quarter, third quarter. Now, we may need a backup plan or something late to get a carrier or two in the fourth, but I don't know how many attempts he's going to get. But 5+ yards in each quarter seems like we're definitely going to be alive in the first. We'll be alive in the second. And hopefully we start the third quarter with a nice little 8-yard run, and then we're going to have to sweat it all the way down to the end. So that one is the one I was looking at, Adam. Can we get there? What's his attempts? Rushing attempts.
What's your number at?
Charbonnet, 16.5.
Under.
That's
what I like. I like the under on the attempts. I like the yards will be there because it's a bad defense, but I like the under specifically on the attempts.
Is this you believing in Kenny McIntosh? Because again, if Seattle is going to be leading this game, there's going to be garbage time running out the clock and just generally killing the clock. It's going to be these two guys.
Right. And not to mention the fact that Seattle has a very food and drink based backfield with Chardonnay and McIntosh apples. We don't want to get into that whole discussion because little Marvin Gaye and Chardonnay could come into play because we are at that time of the year. But I do expect Chardonnay to be the main play.
Yeah, that was good.
This is
what's
like
going
that
on, Marvin
McConaughey
Gaye
ad with Jerry Rice and all the different NFL food names, trying to make us eat, make us hungry. Is what we're doing.
Everybody's eating. Not
feel,
everybody. Not everybody's eating.
In a game like this, everybody's eating. This isn't Bills Rams or something like that. I don't know if everybody's eating tonight.
Well, some people are eating. It's dinner time. Somebody's ordering food. I got dinner time after here. Maybe everybody's eating. I don't know. At least he always says everybody eats. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope he's right. Oh, God willing, man. Who knows? I may just hang out here on the call with you for a while, live watch the game. Anything's possible. You can't rule these things out.
Okay.
All right. So we've got we're hitting top of the hour. We got one segment left in this show, the Thursday night football version, to again count you down to the Seahawks and Bears, give out some of our favorite straight plays. You've already heard the SGP, and of course, if Dave here wants to take us into the DeLorean and up to 88 miles an hour and go back to the future, we can do that with the Gray Sports Almanac. Find out who he's got, what the score is tonight.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines.
Out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Got you a few more minutes here on Pro Football Today with Dave Sharapan, Tom Vecchio. I am Adam Kaufman. Again, Seahawks and Bears, 4.5, 5-point favorites. The Seahawks in Chicago. Concerns about wind, a total of 42.5. We pretty universally across the show, we're conflicted, I suppose, as to who ultimately covers, but we believe in Seattle to win this game, the over as far as the 42.5. If I made you guys choose who's going to cover, I'll just tell you I would take Seattle. But Tom, Dave, where do you go?
The Bears. Bears backdoor show some amount of effort at home late in the season. Seattle wins. Bears cover. May not be the most exciting or most popular play because the Bears are just bad, but I have a slight bit of faith.
All my book brethren are rooting for the Bears to cover. And listen, it's been a tough couple weeks for all the book guys. And somehow the books are still open. They keep taking bets. They keep offering all these things, whining and complaining about a lot of things the last few days. So, I mean, for the book guys out there, let's get it like 24-23 final. Seattle wins. The Bears cover. If the Bears win, man, I mean, I got some people that are going to be very interested in this. I'll probably be down at Circa later trying to figure out what the hell's going to happen after that. Speaking of which, like with these futures and these games, this week and next week are some of the hardest games to book and bet in the NFL because some mean something to somebody, some mean something to the other ones. If you look at the playoff picture of the AFC, you see what happened. It's nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me. For those of you that don't know, we've been here 60 weeks. That's Pittsburgh behind me. Pittsburgh is now in a wild card position. The Chiefs have clinched it all. All right? They got the 1 seed. People were just betting the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl all season. Everybody's kind of conceding. But then Bills and Ravens, 2-3. I'll ask you first, Vecchio, today. On December 26th, the day after Christmas, the second night of Hanukkah. If you got to pick who is going to win that game, if they get there, the 2-3 game, on a future price, who you got? Bills or Ravens?
Home game for the Bills?
Yes, sir.
I would assume, give me the Bills. Bills get it done.
Adam, can you see a path for the Ravens to win that game and then get to the Super Bowl?
Of course there's a path. Yeah, of course there's a path. The Ravens aren't a bad team. I mean, they're maybe a little top-heavy, but I think there's more balance on the part of the Bills in terms of that offense. Baltimore is largely a two-man machine. 3 if we want to include Mark Andrews, and Zay Flowers is just, he's so boomer bust in my opinion. But fine, I mean he's good. He's more than good. He's very good. But I don't know what Josh Allen, who is the MVP as far as I'm concerned, has been able to do with that offense of largely not household names around him and playing at the level that they are, to where, again, let's not forget, they handed the Chiefs their one blemish. I've been saying for weeks, guys, with you on this show, elsewhere, I believe that we are on a collision course for the Bills and the Lions to clash in the Super Bowl. There actually seem to be some Lions doubters out there right now because of the David Montgomery injury, even though he is not officially declared dead and out for the year. He's going to every specialist under the sun until someone tells him he can return. But at the moment, he has not been officially ruled out. And, they're banged up. I get it. They are. But so are the Eagles. We don't know what Jalen Hurts' status is at the moment, coming off the concussion. And the Vikings, I mean, are we really going to believe that as good as that team has been and as well as they perform, that Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold's not going to take that team to a Super Bowl. I just don't believe it. So
this leads us to the Rams. This leads us to the Rams as the long shot play for the NFC. For the NFC, I think you have futures on them, whatever it might be, but
I do.
The Rams coming away with the division title, which I said over a month ago because the Cardinals are frauds. A Rams, a team that have proven it before with Matt Stafford at the helm, a healthy offense, and a home game because they will win a division. They can upset some teams.
They can. When you look at that NFC playoff picture, you see that, and their path is now, if they win on Saturday, which they're going to win on Saturday and most likely cover. What we're doing in the book is trying to adjust for these things now. If you like any bit of the Bears to do anything tonight, yes, it doesn't control Seattle's destiny, but you can guarantee that the Rams would love nothing more than to win that game Saturday, cover the spread, do whatever they got to do, and get that thing locked up so there's nothing to worry about in Week 18. So there's a play for the Rams for Saturday night. Sunday, you got 2 teams in the 2 spot. We mentioned Buffalo already. Adam, you mentioned the Eagles. They're laying a huge number, or were laying a huge number. It's still huge, but it's not as big as it was against the Cowboys on Sunday. The Bills were laying a huge number, and the Jets' money showed up because their spot is locked. It's done. This is one of those times. I'll ask you first, Vecchio. Adam mentioned it. The MVP is still available. And a lot of people think Lamar may have, played his way back into it a little bit yesterday. Would you rest Allen if you were Buffalo Sunday at all, or next Sunday? Or would you let him play like Belichick used to make Brady play all these games?
This Sunday, no. Next Sunday, yes. Very simple. Play, go out there, home game, win. I think they're on the road against the Pats in next week. He rests. Mitch Trubisky out there.
Yeah.
No James Cook. No one of the main starters. Keep them healthy. Move on.
Kaufman. Do we need to see Mitch Trubisky play on? Who needs more of that? They want to expand this regular season in the NFL. We need another regular season game where the backups are playing. I think 17's enough, isn't it?
Is it ever really enough? Obviously that's largely that's not a consumer question. It's not a money question. It's not an advertising question. That's a player safety question. That's the whole reason that debate exists in the first place. So, I mean, do we need more in terms of the injuries that happen across the league? Of course we don't. But do we want more because we just always want more football? Yeah. I mean, for sure. Find a way to play year round. Play in the wintertime. East Coast teams just play. Northeast teams just play in the summer. Or play the South.
Need any of
Go
that.
west. Everybody move west. I don't care.
No,
yeah,
give
the NFL football games in.
You're wrong. Stop talking right now.
March.
We don't need any more of that. What we need more of is Green Bay, Minnesota.
I don't want to break.
Look at those future prices and to win the NFC and or win the Super Bowl. You guys pick the winner of that game on Sunday in the future market right now. You're going to lock in a really good price. This is going to put them in a spot. Now, they're the exact same number right now. The game on Sunday's a pick 'em. I think it's the perfect game. I mean, I can't wait to watch that game. That game is going to determine not who is going to advance, but I think both teams can win their first round playoff game, and it's going to be fantastic. The divisional round of the NFC playoffs are going to be a monster.
And the answer, I think, is the Packers, because in Week 18, the Vikings have to play the Lions. Meanwhile, the Packers are playing the Bears. So depending on how the actual seeding falls, it could give the Packers just that half a leg up, which at a closing number, you'll take any half leg that you can get. Any little bit of extra value you can get on the Packers now before they win, and then likely win against the Bears to close out the season, that much better.
So,
who is
Adam,
Dave,
the Bears
long
tonight
to win the Super Bowl right now?
Control the destiny of the themselves, but they can mess up the Seahawks. They can mess up next week for the Packers. Let's go Bears. That's my play tonight. Go Bears.
Try just end the season on a high note. I know this isn't the final game of the season for Chicago, but it's we're getting there. Just try and go out on, so many people thought the Bears were going to be a playoff team this year, me included. I bought in. And instead, we've had this. So, play a little inspired football. We're going to be back on Monday on Pro Football Today. But for Vinny and Tommy and Davey and the other Tommy, I'm Adam E. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk to you again soon. Happy holidays, everybody.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Played a decent schedule. They have maybe 500. They just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
I mean, this is week 16, and you're throwing this guy in the fire. I know the Giants suck, Scotty, but you got that backdrop. Just give it to Bijan 50 times if Penix isn't looking too well.
And I also think Penn State has an easy track. And I think, to be honest with you, Indiana, people are all going to say they should have never been there. And listen, I just wanted to say one last time before that happens that you can all kiss my ass.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
You're not riding with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Where have you gone? Don't tell me it's the Philadelphia Eagles, Donnie. Who's the team for you?
You see that Vince Lombardi trophy that sits back here? That's a replica. And that's something that the Philadelphia Eagles have won as recent as 2017. The Buffalo Bills are notorious for making it to the Super Bowl and coming up lame, which they might be able to do. But my question is, can the Buffalo Bills even get to the Super Bowl?
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this bet than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid.